Hello and welcome to English Win Today. Today, I will share a story that is emotional, real, and meaningful. This story will help you improve your English while also teaching you something important about life, trust, and change. As you listen, try to feel the emotions, understand the words, and imagine the situation. Now, let me tell you my story. Before my surgery, everyone focused on the positive things. It will help you. You'll feel better. You'll be back to normal soon. I heard these words again and again. From doctors, from my family, from my friends. No one talked about what could go wrong. Maybe they didn't want to scare me, or maybe they didn't expect it either. My name is Lincoln. I'm 29 years old, and I work as a junior architect in a small design company. I've always loved my job. I enjoy drawing buildings, planning spaces, and imagining new ideas. It's quiet work, but it makes me feel alive. Before everything happened, my life was simple. I woke up early, drank coffee, went to work, and came home tired but satisfied. On weekends, I liked to walk in the city or sit alone and sketch. But one day, everything started to change. It began with pain. At first, it was small. Just a light discomfort in my lower back. I thought it was because I sat too long at work, so I ignored it. I stretched more. I tried to rest. But the pain didn't go away. Instead, it slowly became worse. After a few weeks, I couldn't sit for long hours. I started missing deadlines. My boss noticed. My coworkers asked questions. "You okay, Ethan?" my colleague Min asked one day. I forced a smile. "Yeah, just tired." But I wasn't just tired. I was scared. So I went to see a doctor. After several tests and scans, the doctor looked at me seriously. "There's a problem with your spine," he said. "It's not dangerous yet, but if we don't fix it, it could become worse." My heart dropped. "What do I need to do?" I asked quietly. He paused for a moment. "You may need surgery." That word, surgery, stayed in my mind for days. At first, I didn't want to accept it. I looked for other options, medicine, therapy, exercise, but nothing worked. The pain kept growing. It started affecting my daily life. I couldn't focus. I couldn't sleep well. Even walking became uncomfortable. Finally, I had no choice. I agreed to the surgery. Everyone around me tried to comfort me. My mother held my hand and said, "It's okay, Ethan. After this, you will feel much better." My best friend Anthony laughed and said, "Maybe you'll come back stronger than before." Even the doctor smiled and said, "This is a common procedure. You'll recover quickly." Their words gave me hope. I started to believe them. I imagined my future after the surgery. I saw myself walking without pain, working better, living normally again. I trusted the process. The day of the surgery came faster than I expected. The hospital smelled clean and cold. Everything was white. The lights were bright. Nurses walked quickly around me. I lay on the hospital bed, looking at the ceiling. My heart was beating fast. A nurse came closer and said gently, "Don't worry, everything will be fine." I nodded, but inside, I felt something strange. Not fear exactly, but uncertainty. Before they took me into the operating room, my mother squeezed my hand. "I'll be here when you wake up," she said. I smiled at her. Then they pushed my bed forward. The doors opened. The room was full of machines and lights. Doctors in masks stood around me. Everything felt unreal, like a dream. "Just relax," someone said. I tried to take a deep breath. Then, everything went dark. When I woke up, the first thing I felt was silence. Not complete silence, but a quiet that felt heavy. My eyes slowly opened. The ceiling looked different now. For a moment, I didn't remember where I was. Then it came back. The surgery. I tried to move slightly. Pain. Sharp, deep pain. But I expected that. It's normal, I told myself. A nurse noticed I was awake. You're okay, she said softly. The surgery is done. I nodded slowly. Did it go well? I asked, my voice weak. She smiled. Yes. Everything went as planned. Those words made me feel calm. Everything went as planned. That's what I wanted to hear. Later, my mother came in. Her eyes were wet, but she was smiling. You did it, she said. I'm so proud of you. I smiled back. For a moment, everything felt okay. But then, something felt strange. I couldn't explain it clearly. It wasn't just the pain. It was something else, something deeper. I tried to ignore it. This is normal, I told myself again. It's just part of recovery. The next few days passed slowly. Doctors came and checked on me. They asked questions. How do you feel? Any pain? Can you move your legs? I answered honestly. Yes, but something feels off. They always gave the same response. It's part of recovery. Give it time. So I did. I trusted them. I trusted the process. But inside, a small doubt started to grow. At night, when everything was quiet, I felt it more. Something wasn't right. Not completely. Not like they said. One evening, I tried to sit up a little. My body didn't respond the way I expected. My movement felt slower, weaker, different. My heart started beating faster. I looked down at my legs. Move! I whispered to myself. They moved, but not normally, not like before. A cold feeling ran through my body. I pressed the call button. A nurse came quickly. What's wrong? She asked. I hesitated. Then I said slowly, something doesn't feel right. She looked at me carefully. Then she gave a small smile. It's normal after surgery. Your body needs time. Again, the same answer. But this time, it didn't comfort me, because deep inside, I started to feel something I hadn't felt before. Fear, real fear. And as I lay there in that quiet hospital room, staring at my own body, I began to wonder, what if this wasn't just recovery? What if something had gone wrong? The next morning, I woke up earlier than usual. The room was still quiet. Soft light came through this window. For a moment, everything felt peaceful. But then I remembered the feeling from last night. That strange weakness. That slow movement. That fear. I took a deep breath and tried again. Okay, just move normally, I whispered to myself. I focused on my legs. Slowly. I tried to lift one. It moved. But it felt heavy, like it didn't fully belong to me. My chest tightened. This is normal, I said again, but this time, my voice didn't sound confident. A few hours later, the doctor came to check on me. He smiled as usual, calm, professional. How are you feeling today, Ethan? He asked. I hesitated, then answered honestly. I don't know. Something feels wrong. He raised his eyebrows slightly. What do you mean? My legs, they feel weak and slow, not like before. He nodded, but his expression didn't change much. That can happen after this type of surgery, he said. Your nerves need time to heal. How long? I asked quickly. It depends, he replied. Days, maybe weeks. Weeks. That word hit me hard. But will it go back to normal? I asked, my voice almost breaking. He gave a small pause. We expect improvement, he said carefully. Expect, not promise. I noticed that, and it made something inside me sink. After he left, I stared at the ceiling again. My thoughts were loud now, too loud. Why didn't he sound sure? Why didn't he say yes? That day, they asked me to try standing. A nurse and a therapist came into my room. "Okay, Ethan," the therapist said kindly. "Let's try to stand up." I nodded, even though my heart was racing. They helped me sit on the edge of the bed. My body felt different, unstable. "Take your time," the nurse said. I placed my feet on the floor. Cold, real, but unfamiliar. "Now slowly stand," the therapist said. I pushed my body up. For a second, I stood. Then suddenly, my legs shook, hard. "Careful!" the nurse said, grabbing my arm. I almost fell. They quickly helped me sit back down. My breathing became fast. I can't," I said quietly. "It's okay," the therapist said. "First attempts are always difficult." But I could see it in their eyes. Something wasn't right. Not just difficult, different. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw myself falling. Or worse, not walking again. No, that won't happen," I said to myself. But the fear didn't go away. The next few days became a routine. Try to move, feel weak, hear the same words. "It's normal." Give it time. But time felt slow. Too slow. And my body didn't feel better. It felt the same. Or sometimes worse. One afternoon, my best friend Anthony came to visit me. He brought snacks and a big smile. "Hey, you look better," he said, trying to sound cheerful. I forced a small laugh. "Do I?" "Of course," he said, sitting next to me. "You just had surgery. Give it time." There it was again, that sentence. I looked at him. "Anthony, what if something is wrong?" He paused. "What do you mean?" "I mean, what if I don't recover like they said?" He stayed silent for a moment. Then he said, "Don't think like that. You're strong." I shook my head slowly. "This doesn't feel like strength," I said. "It feels like something is missing." He didn't know what to say. I could see it on his face. He cared, but he didn't understand. And honestly, how could he? Even I didn't fully understand what was happening to me. After he left, the room felt even more empty. That feeling of being alone, it started to grow. Not because people left me, but because they couldn't feel what I felt. Days turned into a week. Then another. I started physical therapy. Every day, I tried to walk, step by step, slowly, carefully. But my progress was small, too small. Sometimes, I felt like I was not improving at all. One day, during therapy, I suddenly lost my balance again. I fell, hard. The pain hit my body, but the real pain was inside. Frustration, anger, fear. "I can't do this," I shouted. The therapist quickly came to help me up. "Yes, you can," she said calmly. "No," I said louder. "This isn't normal." The room went quiet. My voice echoed in my own ears. Tears filled my eyes. "I was supposed to get better," I said softly. "That's what they told me." The therapist looked at me carefully. Then she said something different, something no one had said before. "Sometimes, recovery doesn't follow the plan." Her words stayed in the air. Heavy. Real. I looked at her. "What does that mean?" I asked. She didn't answer immediately. And that silence, it scared me more than anything. That night, I couldn't stop thinking. Recovery doesn't follow the plan. What if this is my plan now? A few days later, I had another meeting with the doctor. This time, I was ready. I needed answers. Real answers. I sat in front of him, trying to stay calm. "Doctor," I said, "I need you to be honest with me." He looked at me seriously. "I don't feel like I'm getting better," I continued. "Not the way you said." He folded his hands. "There can be variations in recovery," he said. "I understand that," I replied. "But this feels different." He looked at my reports, then back at me. There is some nerve response delay, he said slowly. My heart dropped. What does that mean for me? I asked. He hesitated. Just for a second. But I saw it. And in that moment, I realized something important. Maybe they didn't know everything. Maybe they weren't as sure as I thought. And maybe my life after this surgery was not going to be the life I imagined. As I walked back to my room, slowly, carefully, a heavy thought filled my mind. What if this is not just recovery? What if this is the new reality? Am I ready to face it? Real-life example. A young man named Jason had a problem with his knee. He loved playing football. It was his passion. Every weekend, he played with his friends. He felt free and happy on the field. But one day, he got injured. At first, the doctor said, "Don't worry, the surgery is simple. You will play again. You will be back to normal soon." Jason believed them. He trusted the process. So he agreed to the surgery. After the operation, everything seemed okay at first. But slowly, he started to notice something was wrong. His knee felt weak. He could not run like before. Sometimes, he even felt pain when walking. He went back to the doctor. They said, "It's part of recovery. Give it time." So he waited. Weeks passed, then months, but his knee never became the same again. One day, he tried to play football with his friends. He ran, but after a few minutes, he had to stop. His body couldn't continue. He stood there, watching others play. That moment broke his heart. "I thought I would be the same again," he said quietly. For a long time, he felt lost. He didn't know what to do. He felt angry. He felt sad. He felt confused. But slowly, something changed. He stopped asking, "Why did this happen?" and started asking, "What can I do now?" He could not play football like before, but he still loved the game. So he became a coach for young kids. He taught them how to play. He shared his experience. He found a new way to stay connected to what he loved. And one day, he smiled again. Not because his life was the same, but because he created a new one. Lesson from real life. Sometimes, life does not return to how it was. But that doesn't mean your life is over. It just means your path is changing. And you still have the power to choose what comes next. That night, I sat alone in my hospital room. The lights were off, but I didn't sleep. I kept thinking about the doctor's words. Nerve response delay. It sounded simple, but it didn't feel simple. It felt like something bigger, something deeper, something uncertain. I looked at my legs again. They were still, quiet, but not normal, not mine, the way they used to be. I took a slow breath. "Tell me the truth," I whispered to myself. But the truth didn't come easily. The next morning, I made a decision. I didn't want soft answers anymore. I didn't want comfort without clarity. I wanted to understand what was really happening to me. So when the doctor came again, I didn't wait. "Please," I said, my voice serious. "No more general answers. I need to know the truth." He looked at me for a long moment. This time, he didn't smile. He pulled a chair and sat down in front of me. That alone made my heart beat faster. "There's something we need to talk about," he said. The room suddenly felt smaller. "What is it?" I asked quietly. He took a deep breath. "During the surgery, there was a small complication." My chest tightened. "A complication?" I repeated. "Yes," he said. "It was not expected. We handled it immediately, but—" He paused. That pause felt endless. "But what?" I asked, almost afraid to hear the answer. "It may have affected some of the nerves in your lower spine." The words hit me like a wave. I couldn't speak. I just stared at him. "What does that mean?" I finally asked, my voice shaking. "It means your recovery may take longer," he said carefully, "and it may not return to exactly how it was before." Not exactly how it was before. That sentence broke something inside me. "You said everything went as planned," I said, my voice rising. He looked down for a moment. "At that time, we believed the outcome was stable," he replied. "Stable?" I repeated. "You call this stable?" I tried to move my legs again. They responded, but slowly, weakly. "This is not what you promised me," I said. "I understand your frustration," he said calmly. "No," I said, shaking my head. "You don't." My voice became stronger. "You told me I would be okay. You told me I would go back to normal." He stayed silent, and that silence, it felt like the final answer. Tears filled my eyes, but I didn't want to cry, not in front of him. "So what now?" I asked quietly. "We continue therapy," he said. "We monitor your progress. Some patients improve over time." Some patients. Not all. I noticed every word now, every careful sentence, every hidden meaning. After he left, I sat there for a long time. I didn't move. I didn't speak. I just felt everything at once. Anger, fear, sadness, confusion. I trusted them. I trusted the process. I believed in the future they described to me. But now, that future felt broken. Later that day, my mother came to visit me again. She smiled when she saw me, but I could see worry in her eyes. "How are you feeling today?" she asked. I didn't answer immediately. Then I said softly, "They told me the truth." Her smile faded. "What do you mean?" she asked. I looked at her. "There was a complication," I said. "Something went wrong." Her face changed, slowly, like she was trying to understand, but also afraid to. "But they said everything was okay," she said. "That's what they said," I replied, "but it wasn't the full truth." She sat down next to me. Her hands were shaking slightly. "So, will you be okay?" she asked. That question, I didn't know how to answer. "I don't know," I said honestly. Tears filled her eyes. And this time, I couldn't hold mine back either. "I'm scared," I said. Those words felt heavy, real. She held my hand tightly. "It's okay to be scared," she said softly. But it didn't feel okay. Nothing felt okay. The next few days were the hardest. Now I knew. Now I understood. And somehow, that made everything heavier. Before, I had hope. Now, I had uncertainty. Every step I took in therapy felt different. Before, I was trying to recover. Now, I was trying to understand my limits. One step, slow, careful, unstable. I watched other patients in the therapy room. Some walked better each day. Some smiled. Some looked hopeful. I wanted to feel that. But inside, I felt lost. One afternoon, I sat alone after therapy. I looked at my reflection in the mirror. "You're not the same," I whispered. The man looking back at me felt different. Not just physically, but inside too. And that's when it hit me. Hard, clear, painful. Maybe I wasn't going back to who I was before. That version of me, the one who walked freely, the one who worked long hours without pain, the one who believed everything would be okay. Maybe he was gone. That realization broke me. I cried that day. Not quietly, not softly, but fully. Because I wasn't just losing comfort. I was losing a version of myself. And no one had prepared me for that. Not the doctors, not my family, not anyone. After that day, something inside me changed. I stopped asking, "When will I be normal again?" Because I didn't know if that question even had an answer. Instead, a new question slowly formed in my mind. If this is my life now, what do I do next? That question didn't bring comfort, but it brought something else. A small, quiet shift. A beginning of something different. And for the first time since the surgery, I stopped waiting for the past to return. But I still didn't know what my future would look like. The next morning felt different. Not easier, not lighter, but clearer. For the first time since my surgery, I stopped asking, "Why did this happen to me?" That question had no answer. Or maybe it had too many. Instead, I asked something new. What can I do now? It was a small change, but it changed everything. I didn't feel strong. I didn't feel ready, but I felt willing. And sometimes that is enough. That day, during therapy, I stood up again. My legs were still weak. My balance was still unstable. Nothing had magically improved. But my mind was different. "Okay," the therapist said gently. "Let's try again." I nodded. Slowly, I pushed myself up. My body shook. But this time, I didn't panic. I focused. One step, just one. I moved my foot forward. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't smooth. But it was real. "Good," the therapist said softly. I took another step. Then another. Each one felt heavy. Each one required effort. But each one mattered. After a few steps, I sat down again. I was tired. My body ached. But something inside me felt calm. Not happy. Not excited. But steady. And that was new. Days passed. Then weeks. Progress was slow. Very slow. Some days I improved. Some days I didn't. Some days I felt hopeful. Some days I felt lost again. But I kept going. Not because I believed everything would go back to normal, but because I accepted that maybe it wouldn't. And that was okay. One evening, I sat by the window in my room. The sun was setting. The sky was soft and orange. I watched people walking outside, fast, easy, free. For a moment, I felt that old sadness again. I wish I could be like that, I thought. But then, another thought came. Maybe I don't need to be like that. That idea surprised me. I had spent so much time comparing myself to my past and to others. But what if I stopped? What if I accepted where I was, right now? That night, I wrote something in my notebook. I am not the same person as before, but I am still here, and I can still move forward. It wasn't a big sentence, but it meant everything to me. A few weeks later, I finally left the hospital. I walked out slowly, with support. Not strong, not perfect, but standing. My mother walked beside me. She smiled, but her eyes were still careful. "You did it," she said. I looked at her. Then I looked at the ground. Then forward. "I'm still doing it," I replied. Because this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of a different life. When I returned home, everything felt familiar, but also different. My room, my desk, my sketches, they were all the same, but I wasn't. At first, I struggled. Simple things felt harder. Walking, standing too long, even focusing on work. But instead of fighting it, I started adapting. I changed my schedule. I took more breaks. I listened to my body. For the first time, I stopped pushing myself to be who I used to be. And slowly, I started building a new version of myself. A few months later, I returned to work. Not full-time, not like before. But step by step, my boss welcomed me back. "We'll go at your pace," he said. That meant a lot. I sat at my desk again. I picked up my pencil. And for the first time in a long time, I smiled. Because I realized something important. Healing doesn't always mean going back. Sometimes, it means moving forward in a new way. There were still difficult days. Days when my body felt weak. days when I felt frustrated, days when I missed my old self. But those days didn't control me anymore because I had learned something no one told me before the surgery. Not every outcome is predictable, but how you respond to it, that shapes your future. And I chose to keep moving forward, step by step, even if those steps were small, because small steps are still steps, and they still take you somewhere. Vocabulary learning time. Now, it's time to learn some useful words from the story. Surgery means a medical operation where doctors fix a problem inside your body. Recovery means the process of getting better after being sick or injured. Complication means a problem that happens during or after something, especially when it is not expected. Nerve is a part of your body that sends signals, helping you feel and move. Weak means not strong. Unstable means not steady or not balanced. Frustration means feeling upset because something is difficult or not going well. Accept means to understand something and be okay with it, even if it is not what you wanted. Adapt means to change yourself to fit a new situation. Progress means moving forward or improving step by step. Limit means something that stops you from doing more. Reality means the real situation of your life. Fear means a strong feeling when you are scared. Confidence means believing in yourself. Patience means waiting calmly, without getting angry. Try to remember these words and use them in your daily life. Shadowing practice time. Now, let's practice speaking. Listen and repeat after me. I trusted the process. Something didn't feel right. I was scared. I needed the truth. My life changed. I felt lost. I started again, one step at a time. I accepted my situation. I chose to move forward. I am still here. I am still trying. I am getting stronger. My journey is different. I will not give up. Practice these sentences again and again. This will help your speaking, pronunciation, and confidence. Moral lesson. Not every outcome in life will go the way we expect. Sometimes, even when we trust, plan, and hope, things still change. But the real power is not in controlling what happens. It is in how we respond. When life becomes uncertain, we have two choices. We can stay stuck in the past, or we can slowly move forward. Even small steps matter, because progress is not about being perfect. It is about not giving up. Healing note. Healing is not always fast, and it is not always visible. Sometimes your body is healing, but your heart is still confused. That is okay. You are allowed to feel tired, scared, lost, uncertain. These feelings are part of your journey. Please remember this. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming someone new. Let yourself rest. Let yourself grow. Let go of the old version of your life and gently build a new one, step by step, at your own pace. Because healing does not mean going back. It means learning how to live again, in a different way. And that is still a beautiful journey. English tips, simple and useful. Here are some helpful English tips from your story. 1. Use I felt to express emotions. Instead of long sentences, use simple structures. I felt scared. I felt confused. I felt lost. This is natural and easy for A2 to B1 learners. 2. Use started to for change. When something begins, I started to worry. I started to understand. I started to accept my situation. This shows progress or change over time. 3. Use short sentences for strong emotion. Short sentences are powerful. Something was wrong. I didn't understand. I was afraid. Good for storytelling and speaking. 4. Use not like before for comparison. My legs didn't feel like before. My life is not like before. Very simple and natural way to compare past and present. 5. Use step by step for progress. I moved forward step by step. Recovery takes time, step by step. Great phrase for motivation in life stories. Common mistakes and corrections. Here are mistakes learners often make, and how to fix them. Mistake 1. I very scared. Correct. I was very scared. Always use was/were with feelings. Mistake 2. My legs not moving well. Correct. My legs were not moving well. Don't forget the verb were. Mistake 3. He say me it is normal. Correct. He told me it is normal. Use. Say. No person after tell. Use a person me, him, her. Mistake 4. I didn't knew what happens. Correct. I didn't know what happened. After didn't, always use base verb. No, not knew. Happen, but in clause. Happened. Mistake 5. I am agree. Correct. I agree. Never use am, is, are with agree. Mistake 6. I can to walk. Correct. I can walk. After can, use base verb, no, to. Mistake 7. I very tired and cannot to move. Correct. I was very tired and couldn't move. Better past tense plus correct modal verb. Quick practice. Try saying these correctly. I was not ready. I didn't understand. They told me to wait. I started to change. I am moving forward. Thank you so much for listening to this story. I hope you learned something important today. Not only English, but also about life. Now I have some questions for you. Have you ever faced a difficult change in your life? What did you learn from it? Do you believe it's better to accept or to fight reality? Write your answers in the comments. I would love to read them. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to English Win Today. See you in the next story. Take care and keep moving forward. Bye-bye.